صباح الخير من أمريكا. Buenos dias. Today we're going to talk about tips for success as a college student in the US. And I'm looking at my bangs today. My bangs look a little wild. That's because last night I decided to cut them myself. So they're a little short and not so hot looking, but that's okay. Hello, welcome. Ahlan wa sahlan. How is your start to 2021? Did you make any New Year's resolutions? I'm curious if this concept even exists in other countries as well. A New Year's resolution, let me type that in. New Year's resolution is like a goal that you make to accomplish something this year. So the word in English, resolution, comes from the verb to resolve to do something, like make up your mind to commit. I'm going to do this, like a goal. It can be a personal goal. For example, one of my New Year's resolutions is to read 12 books this year. Or a professional goal, or spiritual goal, fitness goal, or educational goal, right? So let me know in the comments. Oh, thank you. I don't think my hair looks that great because I cut my bangs by myself yesterday, but that's okay. So let me know in the comments if you have any New Year's resolutions this year, maybe for your education, for English, improving your English, or if a New Year's resolution, like the idea of a New Year's resolution or goals at the beginning of a new year, even exists in your country. I'm curious to know if that's something that you do, or that's more of like an American thing, or that we do in the United States. I don't really know. So speaking of New Year's resolutions and goals for 2021, if studying in the United States is one of your goals for this year, obviously here on my channel, I'm trying to provide you with information that can help you get there. And today I want to talk about some tips for success to have the best experience once you do arrive in the United States. So I have been an international student advisor for more than 7 years now, and I observed a lot of really good, excellent students from all over the world and what they did to succeed here. And then I also observed some not so great examples of students that really struggled or had a hard time, difficult time here academically. So I can definitely talk another day on tips for success outside of class also, but today we're just specifically going to talk about some ways that you can be successful in your academic program. So, Mohammed, what are some of your New Year's resolutions, if you want to type them in the comments for 2021, some of your goals maybe that you have for the new year. So if you're watching this now or the replay later, let me know if what applies to you. You've made a New Year's resolution to continue your education in the United States this year and you want to crush it. Or maybe you're already an international student in the United States, but you're not sure how to excel, or maybe you're struggling a little bit. So you're watching this video to get some tips on how to succeed or do better. Or maybe you're just bored and you need something to watch on YouTube. So it could be that too. Tips for success. That's a great question. So the word tip means like, how would you describe that? A tip is like a suggestion or advice. Oops. Suggestion or advice. Did I spell that right? No, crap. Suggestion. Sorry. No. Oh my gosh. I don't know how to spell in English. I think that's right. Suggestion or advice. Like, yeah, basically advice. So a tip is like some help, a little something that will help you. And success is just like the opposite of failure. So, holy cow, failure. Like if you come to the United States and you get an A in your classes, that's success, versus getting an F, which is a bad grade or a poor grade, that would be failing the class. Does that make sense? So I'm giving you advice or help on how to succeed or have success in the United States, in your classes specifically. So let's see, I started advising students back in 2013, first with exchange students who came to the United States for 1 semester or 1 year. Then I advised English students coming only for English or to do like their whole degree here. And then I was an advisor for sponsored students who were sponsored by their government or work, which, Mohammed, I think is going to apply to you if you might be a SACM student with the Saudi government, if you get a scholarship. So I worked with a lot of students from Saudi Arabia and other countries too. And basically taken all these years of experience and observed what works for international students and what doesn't. And I also have a few courses on this, links below if you want to check out more information. But let's see. These are also some tips just that I didn't even realize until I studied as a college student in the United States too. So anyway, let's get started. So the first tip or advice for success if you come to the United States to study is to learn English well. And this is so important, and this is why it's the first tip, the first piece of advice, because I'm starting with this because it will pretty much affect everything, the rest of your education in the United States. So many times I've seen students not take their English classes seriously enough, and it really hurts them later when they join classes with American students. And Mohammed, I know that you are currently studying English and doing a really good job. You're trying really hard to learn English, so good job. Like, that is awesome. A great way to start even before you come to the United States is to study English a lot. But when students come to the United States and they have to take English and they don't take their classes seriously, they struggle to understand the professor in their academic classes, like once they move from English to business, for example. Maybe they can't understand their professor well. They have a hard time reading a lot of information because in college classes, a lot of times you have to read books or large articles. So it affects that if your English is not very good or you try to skip through English. And homework is more difficult. So when you're in a class with other English learners, like in an English class, it's a lot different than a fast discussion-based style that many college classes have, like a business class or an accounting class. And you may be expected to answer questions in front of the class or work in a group with other students. So it's difficult if your English level is not high enough for that, or you try to skip through English. So most often, the reason that students try to skip through English or they don't learn English well is because they arrive in the United States and they need to take English first because they're not quite ready for their academic program, and it sometimes is a surprise or sort of annoying to the student. Oh, I have to take English before I take the classes I want to take, what I'm interested in, my major. Maybe they thought their English was already good enough, or they're upset that they have to take more levels of English than they were expecting. This, of course, can happen if you get conditional admission, which is a certain type of admission to a college or university. That means you don't have a TOEFL or IELTS score that's high enough to be fully admitted to your program without English first. And I talk about this more in the course as well, linked below. So if you're interested, check that out. So anyway, many students are frustrated or annoyed by the fact that they have to take English, and they try to rush through the classes, just get the minimum grade that they can get, or even fight to skip English completely and go to their academic program. And this is a huge mistake. English is your tool for doing everything in the United States. It will help you make friends, communicate in public at the store or with the police or neighbors. English will help you express yourself the way you want. And maybe, oh, how does your English look? I think so far so good. Your English is, yeah, your English is very good so far. And just the fact that you are coming to these webinars, listening to these webinars on Friday also will help improve your English, I think. So good job, really good job, Mohammed. But so I understand, if you don't know English, you can't express yourself completely. And I understand this in Arabic, actually, and Spanish. Like when I was studying abroad in Spain and I wanted to say, I had eaten some food that was really, really good. And I want to say, wow, this is amazing. This is so delicious. The flavor is like nothing I've ever eaten before. But instead, in Spanish, all I could say was, this is good. I like it. Because I didn't have the vocabulary to express myself completely in another language. And so this is normal, but everyone experiences that when they're learning English or another language. But if you learn English well, you can communicate and express what you really think and feel. So basically, if you learn English well, overall, your experience in the United States is just going to be better. So take your time, study hard for your English classes, and learn English well because it will benefit you in so many ways. And take advantage of being in the United States to learn English because it's very different to learn English in another country where, let's say you go to English class, but then you go home and you speak Arabic with your family, or Arabic is everywhere around you. Maybe, Mohammed, you can comment, what is an English class like in Saudi Arabia? I think in Arabic I would say كيف الحصة إنجليزية في السعودية. Is that correct? What is an English class like in Saudi Arabia? Is it good? Is it helpful? Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, you can go to English class in your own country if the native language is not English, and you can learn to a certain extent, but when you're in the US, taking English and English is all around you all the time, that is the best way to learn another language. So take advantage of it. Don't just rush through your English classes. Okay, enough on that. Okay, yeah, it's right. So the second tip or advice to succeed or be successful in the United States as an international student is to participate in class. So do you know what the word participate means? Participate meaning you are active, involved, and you do something in class. You don't just sit in your seat and just listen to the teacher the whole time. So participate, you are involved, active in class, not just sitting in your seat listening, basically, if that makes sense. So this may be a weird or strange concept. participation in many countries because it's standard or normal for your professor to be seen almost as a god, like unquestioned. They know everything. The professor cannot make a mistake. And the professor just talks, lectures the whole time during the class, and the students just sit and listen, and they just take notes and don't ask questions. They memorize things, what the professor says, and then they just repeat it exactly the same on a test. This requires very little critical thinking or analysis from the student. Yeah, exactly. You move, talk with your teacher. You are active in class. If the teacher asks a question, you can raise your hand and answer it. That's participating. So in an American college class, most of the time, your grade depends on you contributing to class or participating. This means if the teacher asks a question, you answer, you talk about your own opinions or experience. To if there's a discussion, like the teacher says, what is it like in your country? Or what do you think about this? You can give your opinion. You present information to the class in a presentation or work on group projects with other students. So the professor does not want, or the teacher or professor does not want to stand in front of the class and everyone is silent and you just talk to them like they're not there. I taught Spanish. I was a Spanish teacher at a college or a university here in the United States. And my lessons every day were specifically designed to get students to talk to me and be involved. I don't want to stand as a teacher in front of the class and say, hello, is anybody out there? Are you alive? Like, feel like the students are not even with me in the class. So that's speaking from my own experience as a college teacher of Spanish. But I know that a lot of students, foreign students, worry about their English ability when speaking in class, or if the teacher or other students will make fun of them or judge them if they give the wrong answer. Mohammed, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the comments if I'm speaking too fast or something. But that's not the case. So, there's mean people, of course, out there, but overall teachers are understanding. They understand you're a foreigner, and a wrong answer in class does not mean that you're dumb. It just means you're trying and you're participating, and that's all that teachers want. So if you have any questions, in class, just let me know if you have any questions. I'll go to the next tip. So the next tip for success is to start off with a good GPA. This is sort of related to participation. A GPA is a grade point average. GPA, grade point average. How it's like a measure of how well you do in your classes. So if you get A's and B's and C's, it's a measure, like an average of all of your grades of how well you do in your classes. So participation points in class, or being active and involved, they contribute to your overall grade, which means you cannot just usually do the homework and test and get a good grade. This is especially true if you're doing a master's or a PhD. Not always with general education classes, which again, I go into a lot more detail in my course, but my tip here is to start off with a good GPA, meaning your first and second year in college or university here in the United States. If you're going to do a whole degree, try really hard to get the best grades, which are A's and B's in your classes. And also remember that English classes affect your GPA also, your grade point average. So you can't just like not blow off your English classes, not take them seriously and get bad grades in English, because it will affect your GPA, your grade point average, later in your degree. So yeah, the grades count. They count as electives or like extra classes towards your whole GPA or grade point average. So the better grades you get the first 1 or 2 years in your program, the easier it is for you to have a good GPA overall when you graduate. It's harder to recover or to fix a bad GPA after you get bad grades the first year, 1 or 2 years, or at the beginning of your academic program. So I suggest trying to get all A's if possible, at least your first year of college. So if you have any questions or comments on that, please leave them in the comments below on this video later or in the comments now, and I can answer those for you. My last tip for today is don't just memorize information. Memorize might be another word I can define here. So if I spell it right, memorize is to like record information in your brain. I need a good definition for that. Like record information in your brain. So this is one of my own personal lessons in life that I learned as well. I started my undergraduate degree in Spanish and business at a university here. And I was just mostly concerned with getting every single point possible and memorizing information, repeating it on tests to get a good grade. However, I realized that after the class was over, most of the time I didn't even remember what I had learned. So what's the point of going to college if you don't leave better off having learned something and learned it well? That expands your perspective, your knowledge to improve your life, right? So being only focused on points and grades is not what learning or college should be about. We're educating ourselves for personal growth and to be better in our future careers, whatever we decide to do as our job. So instead of just memorizing your accounting answers, your accounting test answers, for example, and then later when you graduate and you're a real life accountant and you can't remember anything you learned because you didn't really learn it, you just memorized it, focus on being a well-rounded person and someone who is legitimately actually knowledgeable in their field and knows what they're talking about for their career, because it's going to help you and that's going to help anyone that you work with in the future. And I know this contradicts or goes against a little bit about starting with a good GPA, but it doesn't really have to, because if you're interested in what you're learning and you still study hard, but actually learn the material, a good grade should just follow that, right? Theoretically. So those are my tips for success in the US for today. Probably have more later. Learn English well. Participate in class, really important for your grade. Start off with a good GPA, so try to get good grades your first and second year of college at least. And don't just memorize information. Actually learn, be interested in what you're learning, and learn it for yourself and for your future job or career. So again, please check out my online courses, everything I have to offer at adviceforabroad.com. some free resources for international students, and an online course that goes into a lot of detail about all of these topics and a lot more. And you can find those links again in the description of this video. Oh, what do you want me to write? Write what, Mohammed? Information. So go ahead and let me know. Can I write, what do you want me to write in the comments? I can definitely define a word or whatever. Oh, wait a second. So that is everything for today. I'll probably do another tips video later on. Happy Friday, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. Whether it's the weekend in your country or tomorrow is the weekend for me. This here. What did I say? I don't remember. Which part? Which part would you like me to write? Okay. I can type a comment on the video later, what you want me to write, and I will respond to your comment. How about that? Okay, that's it for today, and thank you for joining me. Or if you're watching later, have a great day, and I'll see you next Friday.